It's week 4 with Rex, and so far, so awesome. When Rex came, his major challenge was that he was so hyperactive all over the place. Difficult to get him to calm down and just relax like he's doing right now. So, this is an indicator of how far he has come, how well he's doing with controlling his impulse to do other things. And I have to say that in situations like this, the training doesn't just boil down to him understanding commands, but it's about how you use those commands to get the best out of him. So I always apply levels in 2 ways. One, I use elevations, and 2, I use barriers or entryways. So an example of an elevation is this right here. So this veranda is an elevation. I am on the same level with Rex right now. So if I leave him here, good boy, good sit, and I climb up these stairs, now I am elevated to a next level. So this drives an impulse in him to join me on the next level. So training with him, I've tried to get him to understand that until I permit you to join me on the next level, you have to maintain your level. So it puts me in a position of leadership. Obviously, I'm his source of guidance. And then I am the one who gives him the cue to have a good time or get what he wants by simply doing the following. Free. Yes, good boy. So now we're on the same level because I gave him permission. I unlocked the key to, his desires with one word, the free command. So now that we're on the same level, I'll demonstrate the next kind of level that I apply, which is barriers or entryways. So I'm going to use the entrance to the main house. Now Rock stays inside with the other dogs in his crate. So if I go in there, I'm going to his home. So that's going to trigger a very high impulse to follow me inside the house. But if I'm able to keep him over here and only do the same thing, give him permission to join me inside, then that's how I know that I have got his impulse in check. So I'm going to try that right now. It's week 4, so I don't expect it to be perfect. We still have 2 more weeks to go, but we'll see how he does. So he's already lying down, and I think that's a comfortable position to be in. So I'm not going to bother asking him to sit. I'll just leave him there and tell him, good down. And then I'm going to go inside the house. Now, if I open the door, it sends a signal. Oh, he's about to go inside. But look at him. He's still calm and relaxed. Now I'm in the house. He's gotten up. The urge to come in is there. Now, the old Rex would have run in by now. He would have run past me. But the new Rex is thinking about it, and he remembers I usually have to wait for instructions. So his impulse got the best of him. But as soon as he got up, his memory came back. And he stopped himself. So I'll just come back, correct him. Yes, good boy, good sit. And then this correction will keep him here. And I can go back inside. And there he is. So now that I'm inside, again, if I want him to join me, I will just give him the same cue and he can join me. Free. Yes, good boy. There we go. So basically, that's how that works. So forgive the noisemakers. They got an indication that something exciting is happening, so they want to be part of the fun. So that's how that works. So him understanding these various levels just simply helps him to acknowledge you whenever you correct him. So if you are in any new situation, all you have to do is ask him to sit or lie down and then enforce it. So when I want to enforce a behavior like sit, I just tell him good sit. And then he understands that, okay, what you're doing right now, which is sitting, is good. And I want you to maintain that. If he's lying down, I will say, good down. I want you to maintain that. And then I will move to the next level. And if I want him to join me, I will give him the chance to join me. So, I mean, that's pretty much what we've been working on. And that's how far we've come. I'm just going to demonstrate simple routines for you to practice with him as his owner, so that you yourself get the hang of how to apply the things he's learned the right way. So this is more to help you to adjust, and also just simply to help jog his memory. Because even me doing it right now, I would need to remind him about a few things. So it's like every time you have this kind of practice with him, you're just helping his memory to be better and better and better. So I always recommend doing this about twice a week. So first, and very important, is to have a leash and a collar on him. This is the classroom. As soon as you put this on him, he knows it's time for business. So I'm gonna take a walk down with him. Just demonstrate how you should walk him on a leash. I mean, in as much as you're going to be practicing routines with him 2 to 3 times a week, you are definitely going to need to walk him 2 to 3 times a week. Because when you take him outside and then he faces all sorts of obstacles without getting hurt or anything, he knows that when he's with you, he's secure. So he looks up to you more and more and more. And that's the idea. Because when you go outside, he encounters so much, he's constantly worried that he's going to be hurt by something. But he realizes, we went out, we came back, nothing happened to me. And he credits it to you. So naturally, you would experience that he would tend to look up to you more and more for your leadership and your guidance. So I'm just demonstrating how you do that. You keep him on your left side, especially since oncoming traffic is always coming on this side. So you want to be between him and the vehicles. So that's why I keep him on the left side. And you want to maintain a casual rope. So there is no tension in the leash. When I feel tension, I just correct him by yanking the collar. And the yank looks like this. It looks like that. So if you notice, my hand goes and comes back immediately. I don't do this and keep it there and pull him. No. If you do that, then he's not learning anything. He's just following you because you're pulling him. I just do that if he's distracted to remind him, yo, let's go. And then he walks by himself. So there's no tension because he is deciding to walk with me because he's learned that that's what he should do if I remind him or if we are taking a walk. And that's how you know he's learning. When he's doing just that, then obviously he is doing it because he's learned that that's the right thing to do. Very good. Sit. Yes, good sit. So that's just to demonstrate how to walk him. Now, when you're outside in distractions and whatnot, and you need your dog to sit down, sometimes it's a bit challenging. So you need to apply what we call leash pressure. So when he's like this, I raise it, I hold it. As soon as he sits, I release it. I release the tension. But we've practiced so much that naturally he feels like he should sit whenever we come to a stop. So I don't think you will face that challenge much. But if you do, that's how you go about it. You raise this, you hold it up, and then as soon as he sits, you release the tension. And when he feels that he's free, then he knows that he did the right thing. So the next time it will be easier and easier and easier, and then it will become automatic, almost like what it is now. So there's that. And then now I'm going to demonstrate how you practice your routines with him when you're at home. They are very basic, but then there are things that you haven't been doing, so you're not used to. So if you don't practice and you take it for granted, you would realize that you will be messing up a lot without even knowing it. I always tell people that the most important word that dogs need to hear coming out of your mouth is the word yes. Yes, yes, yes. And it's a marker to acknowledge every proper thing that they do. So when I call him, Rex, come. Yes, good boy. I acknowledge him getting up to come when I call him with yes. And then I rewarded him. And then encouragement can come. That's fine. But the first word to come out of my mouth was yes. So likewise, if I ask him to sit, yes, good, sit. As soon as he sits, the first word to come out of my mouth is yes. And the yes actually comes right when his bum touches the ground, because I want to mark it. That's why it's called a marker. You're marking the exact moment he did what you asked him to do. So if I free him, even when I free him, I will acknowledge it with the marker. Free. Yes, very good. Again, as soon as he made a gesture to move on the free command, I marked it with the yes. So the timing is also very crucial. And as I said, because it's something that you haven't been doing, you're suddenly about to start, if you don't consciously practice it to get it right, you'll realize that you'll keep omitting yes. You'll be forgetting to say it. That happens all the time. So don't take yes for granted at all. It's very important. So that's what this guide is for. So when you call your dog, come, yes, very good, you mark it. So your first point is to understand the purpose of marking. Sit, yes, good, sit, you mark it. Free, yes, good boy, you mark. So markers are crucial. Now, I've showed you how to use leash pressure to let him sit, and you've just seen me using treats to let him sit. The treats that I use are chopped up chicken sausage. I'm just going to show you real quick. So there you have it. Chicken sausage chopped up like that. Let me put a few in my hand. right? Nothing complicated. This is very easy to make. Just buy sausage and you chop it up and you boil it. So those are the treats that I use. Now handling the treats is also important. So I'm going to come back and demonstrate that. So you want the treat in the middle of your palm like that. Now if it's just like this, he can just pick it up whenever he wants when you put it in front of him. So in order to make it you who decides when to release it, you just support it with your thumb in a way that it still shows. So my thumb is not entirely covering it. It's still visible to him so that he can play with it and I can tease him with it. And then when I'm ready to let go, I can free it and then let him have it. The teasing is termed luring. So luring is another principle. So luring looks like this. I have a treat. He knows I have a treat now. He wants it. He wants it. So I'm turning him around in circles. I can use it to position him side by side. Sit. Yes. So we both face you. I can use it to free. Turn him around. Position him face to face. Sit. Yes. So that he faces me. And that's called luring. Good evening, sir. So luring is also a technique that you need to be conscious of and practice until you get comfortable with it. Everyone is going to have their own way of going about things. And I find that the simplest way of going about things is usually to get him to be able to turn around without doing too much. It should be a very simple move. So if I want to get him into this position, it's a U-turn. I don't have to do something where he turns in circles twice with all that confusion going on. And as simple as it looks, it takes practice to get it to look right. So you should practice luring him. You just have your treat in your hand. Sometimes you can just walk with him so that he gets used to following it. And then after a short distance, you let him have it. Then he sees it as a game. And then you walk with him free. He follows it. After a short distance, you let him have it. He's getting more excited about it. You lure him. Then you jokingly say, I'm taking it away. And he sits and you say, good boy, for looking up to you. And then you let him have it. So luring is also something you should practice. Now, when I mark his behavior, I try to always mark it with a certain enthusiasm. So if I'm like, come, yes, good. And he's hearing it like that, it's different from I say, come, sit. Yes, good, sit. With this kind of yes, he knows that he's done something great. So he wants that energy. So the next time it's easier for him to do it again. But when you're just, flat, yes, good, come, yes. He also gets dull and then he becomes less responsive. So you want to be enthusiastic about what you're doing. Also remember that he's thinking a lot. You're letting him think about things, do them before he gets rewards. So you want to make it interesting and fun. You don't want to make it stressful. So even if you are stressed out, you need to be able to find yourself, find your energy, and then give it to him to get the best out of him. Yes, very good. I just marked the fact that he is comporting himself. So I like this. That's why I said yes, and I gave him a treat. So if you realize, I never just give him a treat without saying something. Before I give him the treat, I mark the behavior to let him know that, yes, this is what I like, so that he hears yes more and more. And then that helps him to be able to differentiate yeses from nos. So the nos will come in when we start to look at corrections. So now you know how to give your dog a treat. You know how to mark his behavior. Yes, good, sit. You know how to lure him. Yes, this way. Good boy. Now, how do you get your dog into a sit the proper way? Now, if I call him, come, sit. Yes, good boy. If you notice, I call him and I use my hand to lure him. Even though I'm not coming all the way down, I'm showing it to him. So he's following the hand. And that's how I'm able to get him to be right in front of me. So my hand is in the middle of my body because I want him in my center. If my hand were here, he would have ended up here. So where I place this hand is super important. And then whilst I'm moving, my hand is there to serve as the guide. And then when I stop, immediately I take the treat away towards my face. No other place but towards my face. And when I do this gesture, he sees the treat going upward. So he looks up like that and it forces him to sit down. And that is how we got him to learn to sit. And because he's used to that, now the gesture is enough to get the results. So sometimes I don't even need to say sit. I'll just simply lure him. Come here. Good boy. Yes, good boy. And look at that. Look, look, look. Look at that. Yes, very good. And he gets the treat. So if you go about it the right way, it becomes two languages, the voice and the gesture. And you don't want to miss that. Okay, so you want to practice that the right way. So you lure him when he gets to you. You don't give him the treat when he sits here. You take it away from him, ask him to sit. So when he sits when the treat is up above him, close to your face. And then you mark it, yes, good sit. And then you give him the treat. Right? So it's not going to look like this. Come here, good boy. Sit. And then he gets the treat. No, this way he hasn't learned anything. He's just following the treat, and then it's all about the treat. But it's supposed to look rather like this. So he's following the treat, sit, and I take it away on sit. When I say sit, I say it as I take it away. And as soon as he sits, I mark it, yes, good sit, and then I give it to him. And because my hand is towards my face, his focus is on me. He's actually paying attention to me. So that's important. That's how you go about letting your dog sit, right? And it's important for you to practice it because it's about you being able to use the right techniques to get the best out of your dog. So even if you're able to just call him and say a sit and he sits, it's like you are missing out on teaching yourself how to guide him when he's frustrated or for some other reason it's difficult for him to do it. Then you wouldn't know what to do. So practice this so that you yourself master the technique so that you can apply it whenever you need to. Come. Yes, very good. So next thing is, how do I teach him to lie down? Come, sit. Yes, good, sit. Down. Yes, good, down. And then I reward. So now with a down command, it's not perfect yet, right? So the goal is to get to a point where all I do is stand and point and say down, and then he goes down. But for now, just gesturing and then lowering myself is enough. And then when he goes down, I reward him whilst he's there. Why? Because the gestures have to be different. So if he goes down and then I do this, what does he do? He sits, because this gesture means sits, right? So when he goes down, yes, good, down, I give him the treat right there. Yes, very good. So he feels like when he's down there, he's going to get something. So he stays down there. Yes, very good. Because again, whenever he goes down and then he gets a treat and he gets up, I correct him. I don't give him a treat and ask him to go down again. So he learned that, okay, when I stay down, treats keep coming. So I have to stay down until I'm told otherwise. So if it's time for me to get up, I'll hear the free command. Free? Yes, very good. So that's how the down works. And when you point, you don't want to point, come down and then take your finger away. No. When you point, you want to keep the finger there. So I have a treat in my hand, but I'm not showing him the treat. And then I'm pointing down, and then I'm keeping my finger there until he goes down, and then I just give him the treat. Yes, good, down. So I'm going to do that again. Let me get him into a sit. Sit. Very good. Yes, good, sit. And then now we're going to do down again. Down. Yes, very good. Good, down. So as you notice, this time I didn't lower myself so much because, as I said, we are getting there to that point where I just stand and points, right? We are at week 4, so there's a lot of improvement. So I point, keep it there. He goes down. I give it to him. Sit. Yes, good, sit. I'm going to do the down again. So point, down. Now you need his attention. He looked away before I said down, but now he's looking down. Yes, and I kept my hand pointed, and then he gets the treat. So keep that in mind as well. Free. Very good. Very good. Then the next thing is one thing to get your dog to sit from a standing position, and it's another thing to get your dog to sit from the down position. So when they're in the down position, they are so comfortable. When you ask them to sit, they're like, what is he talking about? So you need to make it more enticing for them. So when he's in the down position, I hold the treat above his head when I ask him to sit, so that motivates him to adjust himself to get up. So I'm going to demonstrate that. This way, sit, good, down. Yes, good, down, very good. So I hold it above his head, and then I say, Rex, sit. Yes, and then he gets up and he gets it, whilst I'm holding it above his head. Good, sit, very good. Down. Yes, good boy, very good boy. Again. Rex, sit. Yes, good, sit, very good. And if you notice, when he's looking away, I want to make sure I have his attention before I engage him. Okay. Sit. Yes, good, sit, very good. So the next thing is, how do I free my dog? In as much as the word is very easy to say free, there's more to it. Now, every single time I'm interacting with him, my hand is in the middle of my body. Even when I'm doing nothing, the resting place for my hand is in the center of my body. So when I want to move from doing nothing to doing something, it follows in the same position, center of my body. The only time my hand goes anywhere else is when I issue the free command. So with a free command, I move my hand to the side when I say it. Free? Yes. Good, very good. So he passes me by, and that's the idea. I want him to get a very clear signal that this time you're actually free. So you can walk past me and you can go wherever you like. That's why I swing my hand at my side backward, free, and then I give him the treat behind me so he can continue his life. He can go in and visit his wife and children. I don't care. That's the only time that my hand leaves my center to my side. Right? Now, if you're trying to lure your dog, come to a side by side. Sit. It's a different relationship from a face to face. So on a side by side, everything happens on the side. So this is a different ball game where, now it's not like sit and then I take the treats to my face. No, when he's sitting, I'm taking it above his head because I want to keep him on that side. So everything happens with the right hand on this side. So that's a different relationship. And with that relationship, yes, your hand is always on your side. But with a face-to-face relationship, your hand is always in your center. Only time it goes to your side is when you free him. Free? Yes, very good. So you need to be conscious about that as well. So that's just to take you through how to do the various things, the various commands. So come is a simple call and use your hand to guide him to come straight to you. He sits, you reward him. And then marking is important. So come, yes, good. Remember to mark. This last time I didn't mark. Even with all my experience, I forgot to mark. So it's important to practice it consciously. Right? So there's the come, sit, down, and free. Very good. Those are what you use to get the best out of him. How do you do this? You apply them in different ways. Now, I showed you how to apply it with levels. So if I say sit, good. No, leave it. Sit, good, sit. Now he's sitting, we're on the same level, and I'm moving away from him on the same level. So he should stay. Now, when he moves, no, I bring him back to the same spot. Lower him. So lowering. Back to the same position. Sit, then he's sitting again. My hand is in my center, remember, because I'm doing nothing and I'm walking away. Good sit. Yes, very good. No. So this time he didn't move. He's at the same place. So I'll put him back in a sit. Yes, good sit. Move away again. When I get to my destination, I'll mark yes, and then I'll come and reward. And before I reward, I'll mark again. Yes, good sit. Very good. Now, this is where you practice distance and duration. Duration just implies that if he sits, you want him to sit for as long as you need him to. And distance implies that even when you move away from him, because you will need to move away from time to time, you want him to still stay put. So how you practice it first and foremost is on the same level, like I'm doing right now. And then when you get confident with that, you begin to practice it on different levels, like I demonstrated earlier in the video. Now, there's also principles you should apply here. When you are leaving him, you always have to enforce the behavior that he's doing. So right now, if he is lying down like he is, how I enforce this behavior is by saying good down. I say good and I add the name or the behavior that he is doing to the good. So if you were sitting, I would say good sit. It means it's good that you're sitting, stay like that, and I'll leave. It's almost like you're saying stay. But instead of using stay, which is going to add a new vocabulary and get him a little bit confused, and you might need a couple of months to get him to be able to thoroughly differentiate, the easier way and more effective way is to just enforce the behavior. Because obviously, if you ask someone to sit down, you shouldn't tell the person stay. You should just assume that the person is sensible. So if they sit down, they should stay seated until you come and say, oh, join me in the next room. And then they can join you in the next room. So sit, yes, good, sit, and then I walk away. Even turning my back to him, he's staying because I enforce the behavior. Then when I get here, if this is where I intend to end up, I will mark it. Yes, very good. And then I'll come back. Yes. And then reward him. On the same level, because he can see me, when I get to a destination, I have to mark it. Because I want him to understand that if I'm going away, I want you to sit. So if I get to a certain point and I turn and you are sitting, that's what I want. So I need you to hear the yes. Yes, this is what I want. Yes. I can get here, turn, mark, yes, very good, and continue walking. Turn, mark, yes, very good, and continue walking. And the message that sends is that this is exactly what I want. Keep doing that. And when I come back and you are still sitting, I'll mark again, yes, and then I'll reward you. Because even when I come back, I want you to still be where I left you and only move when I tell you free. Yes, very good, and mark that as well. So that's how that works. So now that's how you apply it on the same level. If you want to apply it on different levels, come sit. Yes, good sit. First I mark it, yes, and then before I leave him, I enforce it. Rex, I want to get his attention. Good sit, very good. And then I can take the next level. So I'm on the next level, he's still there, I mark it, yes, very good. And then I can come back to him if I want to come back to him and mark it, yes, and then reward him. If I need him to still stay, yes, good sit, enforce it again, go to my next level. And this time, if I want him to join me here, I can free him. Free, yes. Even when I said free and he got up, I said what? Yes. Come, good boy, yes, very good. Very good. So notice, I don't compromise on my yeses. And the no's are to correct. So as I demonstrated earlier, when he broke from the free, as soon as he breaks from what he's supposed to do, say no as quickly as you can. Sometimes you will miss it, but try to be quick enough. So as soon as you see that he breaks loose, you say no. Or he's running the wrong way, you say no. And as soon as you say no, you engage him immediately with a treat. You lure him back to the same position, and then you get him into the same spot again. Now, come. Sit. Yes, good sit. Now, if he sits like this, I'm going to confuse him. Whenever I'm moving away, I keep my hand in my center. This time, I'll swing it on my side to try to entice him to break free and show you how the correction works in real time. Good boy, good boy. You see, no, no. And when I say no, what do? Take the leash. I lure him back to the same place, same spot, lure him into the same direction and position, lure him into a sit, this time without saying sit. Without saying sit. And then good sit. I leave him. No treat. If I come back and he's still there, yes, then he gets the treat. So when he makes the mistake and then I correct him and I take him back and he goes back into the sit, he doesn't get a reward for doing that sit because he's just correcting a mistake. He gets the reward after he corrects the mistake. I go, he doesn't break free, he gets it right, and I come and I reward him for getting it right this time. That's the idea. Now, if it's in a sit, as I said, when I correct it and I bring him, I'll lure him into a sit without saying sit because I'm correcting. And I want to let him know if I say no, then whatever you did was wrong. Go and do the right thing without me having to tell you again. So if it's in a down, same thing. I'll lure him back and then I'll lure him. So I go all the way down with him. And then when he ends up down, I take the treat away from him. Not upward, but towards me. Like this and say, yes, good down. Good down. Very good. And then I walk away. So I wouldn't go back and say down again. Same thing. So if I come in, still the yes, and then I reward him in the down position. And then free. Very good. So that is how corrections work. I'm going to step onto the stairs here and then do that again so that it's clearer. I feel it may have been darker down there. So sit. Yes, good sit. Very good sit. Now I'm going to entice him again by swinging my hand to the side so that he gets up. Yes, good sit. Good sit. No. No. So when I say no, I bring him back. We walk all the way back to that spot. I lure him into the position without saying it. Then now I say, yes, good sit. I'm trying again. And then I walk away. He's still there. Yes, good. Walk back to him. Yes, good sit. And then reward. If it's in a down, good boy. And then I'm walking and he breaks free. So again, I'll swing my hand to entice him to make a mistake. Yes, good down. No. So no, I take him again, bring him back to the same spot. This time I lure him into the sit, then I lure him into the down without saying it. Then I take the treat away, say, yes, good down. Keep my hand in my center, walk away. He's still there. Yes, good boy. Walk back to him. Yes. And then I reward him. Good boy. Good down. And then free. Yes. Good boy. And that's how that works. So if you notice, right, it's easy for me to get him to make a mistake by doing what? Swinging my hand to the side. That is why I emphasize that when you're not doing anything with your dog, your neutral position should be the center of your body. Because your hand has been giving him treats, that your hand becomes so important. It becomes your tool for luring him. So if you are just flimsily leaving your hands anywhere, he's going to be following them. He's going to think that you are luring him and he's going to follow your hands. So you want to keep your hands in your center. Unless the relationship is side by side. You deliberately want him on your side. Free. Very good. So you lower him to your side. Sit. So with this, the sit, I raise it above his head on the side. So this is a different story. But even this, when there's nothing happening, my hands are here. When I want him to go down, my hand comes to the side when I point down. Down. And then he goes down, he gets it on the side. Okay. So that's the only time side by side. That's the only time your hand is allowed to stay on your side more. So that's pretty much it. This is a reference video for you to use to serve as a guide whenever you get confused with how to practice properly with him. We have 2 more weeks in training, so we're going to use those 2 weeks to enforce these more and more and more, so that by the time he comes home, you don't have to go through too much to get the best out of him. I hope this was helpful. As usual, I'm always happy to be of service, and I'm always happy to have fun times with Rex. So Rex, say bye-bye. We're out. So he's staying good down. I'm on another level. This time I am on the lower level and he's there like a good boy. Free. Yeah.